Wow, wow, wow. We're here at 10:08 p.m. Sunday, May 25th. It seemed like it was going to be a day in which you would never forget. A day in which I would have a good time. I would come up here and I would do what I've been doing for the past week. I would laugh at you. But today is not one of those days because the New York Knicks just won Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. How are you feeling? What is going through your mind? The Knicks just snatched victory from the jaws of defeat and saved their season. How are you feeling at this moment?
You went on live and you said you win games. You don't win games.
Okay.
You went on live and said you're going up 3-0. You don't go up 3-0. Choke on that. Choke on that. I'm so sick of it. Yo, man. It's so refreshing. Everybody shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. Because we're still here. It's still Knicks in 6. Understand, like, for the Pacers to be in this position, the Knicks had to play their worst basketball of the entire season. You gave us one. You messed up. You messed up. You bum ballers. You, oh my goodness. We are here. And it's the craziest part is this is the Karl-Anthony Towns legacy game.
Yep.
Saved our season. And oh my goodness. I've already blocked about like 5 Pacers fans. I told you guys, listen, if any Pacers fan says anything, you're getting blocked tonight. It's going down. And now we have a little bit of momentum. Everybody was talking about after game 1, like, yo, how are the Knicks going to respond? Yes, the Knicks went and got one. How are the Pacers going to respond in game 4? Because now, if the Knicks go in once again and get game 4, tie this up 2-2, we're not losing game 5 at the Garden. That's not happening. You already got your 2 wins on the road. Shout out to you, right? Whatever. That's not happening. So we're going to come back up 3-2. It's Knicks in 6. it's Knicks in 6, and this is the prophecy. So go ahead, choke on it, right? Everybody, shut the hell up and understand that this is the plan. If you see the Knicks down 20, help the other team because we're coming back. We're gonna win the game. I have never ever. It is also at the same time very frustrating. Why does it take this much? Why does it take 20-point deficits? Why does it take the refs being completely against us in the first half for us to be like, okay, let's actually pull up our shorts and defend? Why does it take Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright minutes in the Eastern Conference Finals? Why does it take all of that for us to finally lock in and then go ahead and feel like we can actually play basketball? If the Knicks come out in game 4 and they are locked in and Josh Hart plays all the MLB, the show that he needs, if that happens and we get it to 2-2, you're in trouble. And I promise you right now, if we get game 4, the series is over. You might as well go home. You might as well go home.
Chat, appreciate all you for coming through here for this TD3 live emergency stream. I think we'll keep doing this as long as the Knicks are alive. We have to get the raw reaction to Donovan, win or lose. The best part is...
Exactly, because you think that it's funny to put a camera in my face anytime that the Knicks lose.
Of course I do.
And you invited me over, right? And you were like, listen, like, I think we have to do something. And as the Knicks were coming back, I just was like, oh, well, I don't know if we're going to have anything to talk about. Like, you might just drove over here for nothing. These cameras are turning on, all right? These cameras were going on regardless.
Yep.
Okay?
This is the best part is you came up here expecting to do a Knicks funeral. We thought the Knicks were going to go down 3-0. It was a 20-point deficit in game 3 on the road. They had every reason to roll over and fucking die. I was prepared to come up here and talk about, hey, man, we thought the Knicks were going to go outside against the Celtics for reasons X, Y, Z. They came out. They prevailed. We said, okay, apparently you guys are just better than we thought. We'll give you faith going into the conference finals. It seemed like they were going to fail against the Pacers for the reasons we thought they failed against the Celtics. So you were up here. I was ready to rub it in your face. You were ready to be sad. We're going to get your raw reaction. Mm-hmm. None of that shit is happening tonight. Might happen Monday night, TBD. But as of tonight, it is a good night to be a Knicks fan because Karl-Anthony Towns gave you a legacy game, like you said. The best part is, I was telling you when you first got here, yo, they're losing this game because of Cat. Like, his first half performance.
You said the series.
Yeah, I was like, this series, the reason they're down is because Cat and the worst parts of his game are coming to shine. His defense has been atrocious, and the first half of this game, his offense was atrocious. He was like 2 for 7 for the field. Then the fourth quarter started. 20 points. In the fourth quarter. I think it finished with higher than that, but at the time it was 20 points when he had 4 in the first half, 3 quarters. he straight up won them this game. Like, he turned the game around, saved their season. Like, unironically, Karl Anthony Towns saved the New York Knicks season, saved their NBA Finals hopes, saved everything. Wow.
It's one of the like more shocking developments, but also because the first half of this game, you really saw the full spectrum of like when it goes bad for Cat, this is kind of what it looks like. You had bad fouls on his part. You had 35-foot threes with 22 seconds left on the shot clock. You had poor defense. Like all of that was coming into fruition, and his bad shots were leading into Pacer points on the other end. And you're just sitting there like as the first run was happening and the Pacers start, going up by like 16, 20, all that stuff. I'm just thinking to myself, like, I can't believe this is how like it ends, right? That you're seeing everything that everybody has said for the majority of the year all come crashing down in one singular moment, in one like time capsule. And then also Brunson having a terrible game in foul trouble again, which is a really like, and we can talk about this a little bit later, but like the Brunson foul trouble stuff that's been happening over the last like 4 or 5 games, extremely weird. But on the Cat thing, for him to come in and just be like, you know what? If we're gonna go down, I'm gonna go down swinging. And his aggressiveness, him going to the basket, him taking the same threes that if he was taking them in the first half, I would have looked at you and been like, "What are you doing?" Mm-hmm. And then they just started falling in the fourth quarter, the second half, and so boom, like we're there. And so shout out to Cat. We live to play another day. It's so obvious, but like 2-1 is so much different, than 3-0. It's a yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like it's one game, but listen, man, we're here, and you should be scared.
Yeah,
and you should fear for your life.
I just love that 30 minutes ago it was like, fuck, the season's cooked. Now it's, hey, we're Knicks and 6.
Yeah,
we're on the way back.
Because you messed up. Like
they let you see one go through the hoop. All the misses, you don't remember him
Guess
anymore.
what? He checked.
Dion Waiters' mindset.
Checked.
All you need is one, and it was worth it.
We outplayed them in game 1, and like if right, but you look at everything and you look at the way that this series has unfolded, and we should have gotten at least one of those games in New York. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we're down 2-0, can't blame anybody, can't blame anybody but ourselves. We should be up 2-1 and we're not. And so at least in game 1, especially going into game 2, there was a lot of conversation, even after game 2. It's like, I guess the Pacers are just that much better, when it's like game 1, we were up by 14. Game 2, it was a tie game going into the fourth quarter. It was a tie game and a very close game for a majority of the fourth. Yes, Indiana is very good. Yes, they are running with blood magic and voodoo dolls. But the games have been in reach, and the Knicks just haven't executed in, clutch situations, which they have throughout the playoffs and throughout the year in certain times. And now we're here. And if the Knicks are actually executing, this is a massive turn of events. The fact that Brunson was on the bench, they benched, for, I guess, like he ended up, coming back into the game. But as that game was closing, Tibbs stuck with Deuce McBride at the point guard position and waited until the very last possible moment to bring Brunson in. And so for the Knicks to survive a game like that with Brunson in foul trouble, with him not even scoring well, that is as great as you can ask for going into game 4.
Yeah, Deuce McBride is like, we talked about Cat saving their season with those 24th quarter points. That run was kind of ignited by Deuce McBride hitting those clutch 3 shots. It was very reminiscent of like when Julian Strawther hit those few shots in the last series for the Nuggets to win that game 6 against OKC. And it was like the Julian Strawther game because he had that really clutch run that ignited the team at the right time. Deuce gave him something similar tonight. And whenever that fourth quarter was going on and Brunson was on the bench, we were talking about it. He kept him on the bench longer than he had to. Like, I think most coaches would have brought him in a few minutes earlier.
Yeah, I was thinking, I thought Brunson was going to come in around like the 3-minute mark.
Yeah.
Right. And you save, right, either 3 minutes or like 2.5, and you get the last, 5 possessions with Brunson on the floor. Mm-hmm. He came in, it was like something like 145.
And I was like, so this will be the decision that decides if Tom Thibodeau keeps his career or not, because that is bold. And I don't think it was crazy. They came back in that. Because Cat was going sicko mode, which he can keep doing with or without Brunson. Clearly, he was frying Miles Turner off the dribble. But also, they were defending insanely well. Their defensive intensity was ridiculous. And, Brunson had 5 fouls. He's Jalen Brunson, not exactly a lockdown defender without the foul trouble. So If you bring him in, yes, you get your late game bucket getter. That obviously is helpful down the stretch. He hit the clutch shot that makes you see why you need that. But also, if you bring him in too early when the defense is really clicking, he obviously can't defend with a lot of physicality. Exactly. So that was a tough decision to manage in the moment. Under the most pressure you could possibly imagine, that decision might decide whether your season is all but over tonight. And yeah, shout out Tom Thibodeau. He managed the game well. I don't think it was the first half was obviously a bad Tom Thibodeau game, right?
It's not a masterclass at all.
But it worked.
It did. He, like you said, you make that decision at the end of the game, and you make that decision to bring Josh Hart off the bench to start the game. You start Mitchell Robinson, you start this double big. And for the first time, the Knicks actually didn't get down 10 points in the first, 3-4 minutes of the game. And so they ended up losing the first quarter, but that was as good as you could feel, just because the way that Indiana had been starting, like they start game one, they go 9 of 9. They start game two, they're also, very, very on fire. And that was the first time that you actually felt like, okay, we have a handle on what they're doing offensively with our defense, and it's good. And then you look at the minutes. Josh Hart still plays 34 minutes. Mitchell Robinson plays 28. You're still getting starter minutes from Josh Hart. And so from that perspective, it's fine. Now, like you said, that first half, you are playing, you're grasping at straws, because, again, we saw DeLon Wright, which is the right move to go over Campaign. Campaign has had every opportunity to keep his spot in the rotation, and there's just nights where he's just too erratic. Mm-hmm. And so DeLon Wright comes in, kind of stables that. You see Landry Shamet for the first time in a long time. But when the Pacers are making that run, that lineup is like, what the hell are we doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look at this game chart. We always look at these, and wrong one. They always have these game charts on here that most of these playoff games have been a tale of like blowouts, and it felt like the Knicks that start the game, you said they ended up losing the first quarter. They won in the first like few minutes, but then the Pacers ended up doing what they normally do and won the first quarter. It didn't feel like they had a bad start to the game, despite losing the first quarter.
Exactly.
So they started well and ended well, which is really all you can do. And look at this mountain of yellow in the middle. Look at this.
Yeah, that's that.
Look at this.
And we end up winning. That's been kind of the story in terms of road games. We go down 20 in game one and game two in Boston. You come back, get that, and then you have tonight. Hopefully, and again, it shouldn't have to take this.
This is a giant mountain of yellow. Like, to withstand this 20-point lead at one point and just whittle it down to get the lead at the end. Like, this is the season. Like, this is the most pressure you could be under as a team to respond to this. It's just such an impressive game for a team that like was so close to rolling over. Like, everybody was talking in all their group chats at home about, so the Pacers in the finals, what's the matchup going to be like against OKC? Maybe against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know. It was like everybody across the country was talking about it as a foregone conclusion. The Pacers are in the finals now, and now they're not. Or maybe they might still, but it's not a guarantee anymore like it felt like 45 minutes ago. Yeah, I guess they're going choke for choke this series.
You dummies. This is as, like you said, it's as impressive given the stakes, given who did it, given how it got done, and so we moved to game 4.
How do you feel about the double big line from the beginning? That decision to go, obviously, it makes total sense. They would change up the lineup after the first two games, and I agree. Josh Hart starting wasn't the best look in the world because they finally team realized we don't have to guard Josh Hart, and it really fucks up your spacing. Yeah. Game 1, they treated Josh Hart like a shooter, and that's why the Knicks outplayed them most of the game. Game 2, they did not, and you really felt that lack of spacing. Were you a fan before the game started of the double big starting?
Yeah, I was okay with it because I just think like you see how potent Indiana is, especially starting these games off, and so going with as good of a defensive lineup, because obviously you're not gonna not start Brunson and have Deuce there. So to have that lineup and to still have a little bit of spacing with Cat, it was good. And also what I thought it did was it gave Mikal Bridges a lot of space. And this was something where at the very, very beginning of the season, a lot of people were talking about how Josh Hart is going to fit in this team, and is that if anybody's going to have to sacrifice and come off the bench. And then ultimately, we just stayed with this, starting five. But you saw without Josh Hart there, it was Brunson, you're going to run the show. Mikal, you're also going to run the show, and you saw a lot more actions with them too. And so the threes weren't really falling for Mikal in the first half, but I did like the aggression from him. I did like the fact that this is a guy who has averaged 20 points in the league before, and you're actually giving him the space and the opportunity to show his playmaking, to show his scoring ability, especially if you're getting switches on a Tyrese Halliburton and you're able to attack him and do things like that. From that standpoint, I really did like the double big lineup, and so it looks like they found something. We'll see what happens in Game 4. I really do think that one of the biggest things is going to be the officiating. And I think that in this game, especially in the first half, that was some of the most lopsided officiating I've ever seen in my life.
On the Pacers side?
On the Pacers side. I feel like the Pacers were able to play with a level of physicality that the Knicks were not being granted.
Okay.
And so it's two parts to this. One, there were parts in that first half where I thought that we were gonna quit. There was
Me too.
And so the aggression from the Knicks wasn't overall there. So I will give the Pacers credit, and they did come out and we're throwing muscle around. But they were also allowed to do that, and I feel like there were a lot of touch fouls and stuff like that. I've said it all series, and every time I'm watching these games, if you think that Nesmith, Nembhard, and McConnell can guard Jalen Brunson without fouling him, you're out of your mind. You're delusional. They are holding him on every time Brunson is off ball, they are holding and they are grabbing him. Any time that he is on the ball, they are fouling him. They have no chance to guard him one-on-one. And the only way that they can stop him is by fouling him. I promise you, if they call it legitimately, and Brunson is actually getting to the line and getting the fouls, they will be out of the game by the second quarter. These guys can't guard him, and it's so very, very clear. But if Brunson is getting into foul trouble and you're calling ticky-tack stuff and then throw in Cat being Cat and having, dumb fouls, Josh Hart is the only one who tries to, have some type of physicality. He'd just be flying off the top rope everywhere trying to get rebounds, and they call fouls on him. If you allow both of these teams to be physical and you give the Knicks that leeway, we're gonna be okay. But
the problem is the Knicks defense is manned by probably the worst defender in the NBA at being physical. And Cat, that man is atrocious. If you allow him to be physical, he's atrocious at that.
Fouls. I can't say anything about his fouls.
He will
Everybody
foul
else,
you.
Yeah.
If a coach says go be physical, Cat, he will foul you every time, and it will be his fault.
Yeah.
So I understand that's a part of it. Some of the Knicks players aren't good at being physical, and that is a skill there. But yeah, I understand what you're coming from. Brunson, obviously, the foul game is always gonna be a discourse portion of that.
He's the main one. It's so very clear. If I just put them in a gym right now, roll out a ball and say, "Yo, go guard him," he's scoring 97 times out of 100. They can't guard him. They can't do it, and they're being bailed out. If Y'all are lucky. You guys are lucky you're up 2-1. And
Chad, who is winning this series? Chad, running a poll right now. What is your guys' current confidence level for both these teams? Let me hear what you guys are thinking, chat. Currently, the poll is at 170 votes. 50-50, actually. Or 51% Indy now, 49% New York. So apparently you guys are really buying this one New York victory as listen, it's anybody's series now. Interesting.
You have to. I think for Indiana, the hard part about Indiana and we knew it was going to be like this coming into the series, just because one, Indiana has played very, very well. After starting off super slow, the Pacers have been one of the best teams
for a while now.
And nobody's cared for a while because we hated on Tyrese early on in the season when he was struggling. The team wasn't doing well and kind of just wrote him off. It's kind of easy to do that when you're like the Indiana Pacers. But they are legitimate. They play such a consistent brand of basketball in terms of their defensive pressure, picking up 94 feet, having Tyrese not turn the ball over and make the right decisions. The first quarter for the Knicks, they had no turnovers, and they still ended up losing that quarter. Why? Because Indiana was able to get out in transition. For the longest part of this game, the Pacers were like skunking the Knicks in transition points. That's all Tyrese Halliburton in terms of I'm instantly getting the ball in, pushing it down floor. I'm getting run outs. I'm getting leak outs. And so that in itself, creating extra possessions or creating super, super quick possessions to capitalize off of made baskets, that's something that Indiana does, and it adds up so much over time.
Yeah. The interesting part to me, I'm looking forward to for the rest of the series is in that second half, we talked about obviously Cat went crazy on offense. The main story was the Knicks locked up on defense. And the fourth quarter, in that when they were trying to kind of grab hold of the game, the Pacers that is, they had gone down by 1 point, then down by 4. They were really trying to claw their way to regain that lead that they lost. It was a lot of iso ball. There was a lot of Pascal Siakam post-ups. The Knicks did a fantastic job of shutting down their sets. And when the Pacers devolve into just freelance, taking turns isoing, that's obviously not where... Pascal Siakam's very good at that, but that's obviously not where Tyrese Halliburton shines. Nesmith had one time he tried to ISO on the baseline and do this weird post-up muscle game against OG, got a shit swat into the sidelines. It was a great first half offensively, but it really devolved in the second half. Whenever the Knicks successfully turned up their energy level and really switched with aggression and got in their dribbles and really, really got them out of the rhythm, the Pacers weren't ready for that. Now, that's probably something they can adjust for and come back expecting more energy level there and really doing better in the next game. So not to say that's something that's they're cooked for the rest of the series. The Knicks figured them out, nothing like that. But it's one of those things that you lose in that fashion when it comes down to a team that is on the ropes and responds with physicality and it clearly gets you out of your rhythm. That's the first thing you got to monitor in the first quarter of the next game. How do they respond to that? You jab for a second. I got to get my computer charger.
Okay, bet. Yeah. I'm very curious to see what Indiana does. Listen, my whole judgment on this entire thing is obviously very, very clouded because I see the Pacers and I see them as a very soft team who cannot play with us if the physicality levels are the same. But I think that for the Pacers, I think that for Indiana, they can do it and they can be fine. The shots have fallen. They shot 20% from 3 also, which is something that even if the Knicks lock up defensively, it's still something that's going to be better in Game 4. They're going to shoot better than 20%.
Well, part of that is also in the second half at least is they weren't creating good looks at nearly as much. They did obviously miss open looks you're going to if you shoot 20% from 3. But a big part of that shutdown of their actions in the second half kind of shut down the funnel of how they create so many good looks. So part of it is bad shooting. Part of it is the Knicks kind of took away the easy shooting in the second half.
It's about time. Also, I'm not standing Cat yet. We're I saw somebody say I finally stand Cat. We're not there yet. Shout out to him though. We have made a lot of progress in our relationship. You know what I'm saying? But this is where we're at. If we could just get a solid first half out of Cat and out of Brunson, this series is going to be tied up 2-2. Also, shout out to very, very, very side note, and I think I mentioned this to you. Shout out to Rick Carlisle and the Pacers. They always seem to have a challenge in their back pocket, and they have done a great job at picking their spots with the challenges. I feel like they haven't lost one yet this series. And so you get down to the fourth quarter, and it feels like they've stolen 2 or 3 possessions just because they have these challenges in their back pocket. And Tibbs, the Knicks have honestly been one of the best teams in the regular season at using their challenges, and it hasn't necessarily been that in this series, or I feel like in the playoffs as well as it was in the regular season. And it feels like the Pacers are, getting a little bit of an advantage. And as these games are coming down to 2 points, a possession here, a possession there, it always feels like a massive thing whenever somebody goes over, they do the thing, and it's damn, they still have one. They are winning that battle.
Yeah. What an interesting series, man. The epic emotional swings are crazy. There's reason to be optimistic for both teams. The Knicks, you're down 2-1. You did play better for 40 minutes or so of the first game before Nesmith went absolutely berserk. So you can tell yourself
47 minutes you played.
Yeah, better. Yeah, sure. Yeah, 45, 47, whatever the number you want to say is, you felt like you were winning that game. You lost at the absolute last second. So you can tell yourself, hey, it's 2-1, but we really have the moral victory here. We really should be up. So we have plenty of reason to believe we're the better team. Then obviously for the Pacers, you'd rather be up 2-1 and have home court advantage than to be down 1-2 like the Knicks. So I can't tell if it's anybody's series or not. Like, you can really convince yourself either way depending on your priors.
It's the Knicks series. It's theirs to grab.
Chat's at 52% Indiana in the poll right now. 557% of you guys, I said percent, 557 guys of you total have voted. 52% Indiana. So, I mean, that's pretty close considering, again, an hour ago, it felt like it would have been 90% Indiana. So that's closer than we thought it would be.
Especially when you are up 2-1, you know, like you do have the advantage, but we will see also he came back into the game. What is Neesmith's ankle going to be like in game 2? Cause you hear a lot when you're on like the adrenaline of the game, you can come back. That thing's going to be swollen tomorrow. Cause he turned it massively. And so he probably will play whatever. But if he's not there and you have that level of shooting coming down, listen, it might be scary. So y'all better hope he's using icy hot, whatever, and you can get some Neesmith stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's also the best. I'm just saying like that, you know, they can't guard him. But he is the best defender that they have for Brunson just because of how big and strong he is.
Yeah, very strong.
Yeah, Nembhard and Brunson would get into a lot, and Brunson would win that. And then if you put McConnell on Brunson, he's going to cook that too. Neesmith is the best one that they have to really disrupt Brunson's game. So for their sake, they better hope that he's there on Tuesday for game 4, which is it's just part of the playoffs at this point now where you're playing every other day.
Yeah. Double big lineup started. I almost wonder if you're Tom Thibodeau, your takeaway from this game is benching Josh Hart worked. Do you think they continue to start Mitchell Robinson? Because they didn't come back in this game because of double big lineup. You know, like that wasn't the change that won them this game. So your takeaway is, yeah, you won the game, you started a different lineup, but you didn't win because of that adjustment. You know, they came back with Cat at center. Is there going to be like something in the back of his head saying start Deuce McBride and get more shooting out there instead of going big? Because I feel like that was probably a debate before the game, was which version of Josh Hart on the bench are you going to do, going size and putting Cat at power forward. Because obviously they benched Josh Hart because they didn't want Cat to play center because he was getting absolutely fried. But you know they made the comeback when their offense is really clicking and they were being a more switchable defense. You put Deuce McBride out there. If he shoots well, you have 5-out spacing, which you don't have with Josh Hart to the same degree because you can sag off of him. But you do have to do a Cat center, so it's kind of give and take there. I don't know what the answer is.
I think I would still go double big. You having Cat out there, like you won because Cat went crazy, but you got to think about when the game got out of hand and how the game started. And again, that first quarter is, although you lost, is one of the better first quarters that they've played in the series. I think it's because you were able to manage the damage. Having Brunson and Cat out there at the same time, especially against a team like this, is very, very, it's not even risky. It's just hard to it's hard to build around. It's hard to plan around. So if you're able to negate at least one of them and still be able to have some shooting, you're gonna just hope that offensively Cat and Brunson can be better and you can tread water. And if you can leave the first quarter up 1, up 2, you'll be fine with that.
You just mentioned the defense thing. You mentioned earlier. You want to talk about it later. How do you feel about the Jalen Brunson foul trouble? Because they're attacking him, and he is in multiple games of the series gotten into foul trouble. That is not a coincidence, I don't think. Like you said, starting Cat and starting Jalen Brunson together defensively is extremely difficult. That's why we thought they couldn't beat the Celtics for the entire season, because that's two weak links to pick at. If you have a good combination of big and small offensive players that can attack those guys from various ways, like we thought the Celtics did with the 2 wings, that's like a non-starter defensively. How do you even field a defensive lineup that can do well? And, you know, that obviously didn't happen against the Celtics for many reasons we've talked about. For much of this series, Tyrese and Pascal Siakam have been poking at those weak links consistently, getting Jalen Brunson in foul trouble, making him rotate. Jalen Brunson has to try really hard because of his physical limitations. And, you know, if you have to try really hard and you're constantly being brought into actions, you're more likely to foul. And goddamn, he is. What is your general feel about that for going forward in the series?
I think Tibbs needs to be smarter. Tonight specifically, the fact that Brunson got his fourth foul so quickly, that's on Tibbs. Tibbs has to take him out. Knowing, like, yes, you want to trust people, knowing that Indiana is attacking him the way that they are, you have to take him out. And for them to be at that point down 2-0, I understand you want offense. You have to save everything for the second half. And so the fact that Tibbs left him in there and then it's felt instant that he got his fourth foul, that's an issue. You can't really like say anything for Brunson's the one where it's like, hey, you just got to live with it because he's gonna come back in the fourth quarter and he's gonna make tough shots. He's gonna knock down free throws, and you just have to kind of build around it, which is why I really lean towards the double big, because if we're gonna help out anybody, we're gonna help out Cat. And we're going to do that. So
yeah, I mean, it helps him out defensively because I don't know. I mean, Cat's better offensively as a center. Like that's always been the case. He's way better attacking bigs. We saw that in the second half. He fried Miles Turner. Cat's not, you're not helping him by putting him power forward. You're really negating his weaknesses. You're helping your team in like being able to succeed in spite of him. He will do worse offensively if he's a power forward, but he won't sink your defense because he's not the center, So like, I don't know if you're helping him as much as you're like giving yourself insurance for him.
That's fair. Yeah, that's probably the right way to put it. I just think that, okay, so on the Brunson side, when it comes to foul trouble, he does have to be better. I feel like some of his closeouts have been a little bit too aggressive, and he can probably be a little bit smarter, especially after he gets once foul number 2 happens, you have to be on alert. I'm not going to be super aggressive on these closeouts. They're really going to have to beat me. Some like he had a foul on Obi Toppin where he just body blocks him. It's not great. He had a foul on Nemhard in the corner. I thought it was soft, but whatever. Like, you can't close out that way. Also this is also stupid. The Neesmith challenge. Neesmith throws a freaking chicken wing into his chest and they call the foul on Brunson, whatever. But he has to be smarter. And so part of that is, again, on Tibbs and protecting his players. The other part is on these players, especially on Jalen Brunson. You are the captain of this team. You are the best player. You have to know what positions you can and can't put yourself in. So that's really on him.
Yeah. Going to be interesting, man. There's so many dynamics at play here. So much of this Knicks defense really came down to effort tonight, and just like you saw it, the season was on the line. They locked the fuck in, which I don't know. That's like, that is a real thing. They clearly had their backs against the wall. That is something that they did. Can you project that going forward, like to maintain that for 48 minutes of every game? Can you project the Pacers offense to stall out in that way? Is it because the Knicks locked in, or did the Knicks lock in because the Pacers did so bad shot making wise? Like, Game 4 will be, obviously, this goes without saying, the most important game of the series.
Pivotal game 4.
Yeah, obviously you go down 3-1 or you tie 2-2. Duh, it's the most important game. But even outside of that obvious reality, let's say even if it goes 2-2, depending on how it goes 2-2 and what version of the Pacers offense we see, that'll like tell us a lot about the rest of the series.
Yeah, if the Knicks, and this is also another reason why I think if the Knicks go to 2-2, that they'll end up winning the series, is because in Game 1 and in Game 2, whenever Neesmith is going crazy, and at the end of Game 2, whenever the Pacers are also making a run, those mistakes, yes, Indiana was making shots. The Knicks were not communicating defensively. It was all because of Knick defensive breakdowns. And Neesmith had 6 threes in the fourth. On like 5 of them, it's because nobody's talking. Nobody knows. Are we switching? Are we in drop? And they end up playing drop basically every single one of them. And Neesmith walks into every single 3. It's the same thing in Game 2. You saw a little bit more communication in the second half of today. If that happens again in Game 4 and you finally feel like defensively they're all in that hive mind state, we're cooking with gas there, right? If they are actually locked in defensively and now know how to communicate and who's going to be where and what to expect defensively, that's where I feel like the Knicks have an advantage and can then start leaning on the one thing that I think that they have an advantage over basically everybody in the league, maybe outside of Shea, which is
best player,
best player crunch time.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Jalen Brunson has clearly proven for 2 playoffs in a row. He's probably the most reliable late game, self-created shot maker in the league. Mm-hmm. I understand that. Shout out to Joaquin37 for tipping $5. He said, "Hey, Donovan, Isaac may not always be your friend, but I'll always take your side." Shout out Joaquin37 for glazing Donovan. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't like you. I don't like you.
Oh man, if only tonight was the funeral, it would have been so fun.
You were trying to set me up.
But hey, we live to see another game. We live to see another opportunity for the Knicks to make the dream happen, make the comeback happen. Like I told you, I want you guys to win because I want to go to New York.
No, you don't.
Again, I'm very happy if they don't because I'm very happy to laugh at you. But I would like to go to New York, not Indiana, for the finals. So.
Also, you are very quick. The picture that you posted, I hung up very quickly. I thought I got you.
Oh yeah.
Were you already recording? Like,
no, I screenshot it. Yeah, if you guys saw
quick.
On my Twitter, I FaceTimed him for like 30 seconds after game 2.
It was less than 30 seconds. It was like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was like 10. He answered and said, "Fuck you," and hung up. I got a screenshot of him looking all pissed. But yet again, I want to go to New York for the finals, not Indiana. So I want you guys to win for selfish reasons, but I will not be upset if they melt down and we get hilarious content because of it. So all I do is win no matter what the outcome of this series is.
Understand. I'm booking the hotels this week. We're going to New York. I'm calling up.
If I have to go to Indiana for a finals podcast, I'm going to be pissed. Indiana
going.
Sucks. I hate going to Indiana. I'm not going to Oklahoma. I mean, maybe if Minnesota wins, I guess that could be. Minneapolis isn't the worst place in the world. We're not going to Oklahoma. I'll tell you that.
We're going to New York. We're going to the finals. Knicks in 6. We're up. Put the word back out. We're up.
And there we go, man. We just had a quick emergency stream. We got to react to this episode for you guys. To this game. Again, if the Knicks keep playing crazy games like this, we might keep having emergency reaction episodes after Knicks games like this. If they make the finals, expect a stream after every single game. Real quick, just like this, reacting. Yeah, man. We'll see y'all on Tuesday for the regular TD3 live. That's not going anywhere. Back to regular schedule as always. We'll see y'all later, man.